Politics has a really bad name. When I think of politics, I just think of rich white men trying to take your money.
The referendum and Brexit and all this sort of stuff. When it comes out of nowhere, it just sort of makes you feel disassociated with what's going on in Parliament, just because we have no idea where it's come from. Likelihood is they don't either, but it makes people think that there's some alternative, there's something else at play.
I'm never going to vote. I'm never going to vote.
Why?
Because I think all the parties are corrupt in their own ways. And if you're never really going to win, because the country is kind of split into two sections, the rich and the poor. One party looks out for the poor, one party looks out for the rich. That's kind of how it is. Yeah, and then the other little parties don't get a look in, so there's no point. I would vote Greens, but Greens are never going to win, so.
So many young people didn't vote because they didn't feel like their vote would make a difference. What do you think has led to that feeling of, like, I don't know, a vote not counting for anything?
Just a lack of trust, I would say. Just dishonesty. That's how I feel. I don't want to speak for everyone, but me personally, I feel there isn't that honesty, that level ground where you feel there is someone that could actually make a change or do something.
I think politicians and governments need to keep to their word. When somebody doesn't follow what they're going to say a couple of times, you do break trust with most of them afterwards. For me, it's kind of with all politicians.
Yes, politics definitely has a bad name. Especially, like, from my opinion personally, it just, whenever you hear the word politics come up in a conversation, you instantly just think, oh, here we go again. It's going to be someone either rambling on, really, like, heavily hearted on something that you might not agree with. It's always very twisted, and it turns into something uglier than it should be.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. I just wanted to do like a brief introduction as to what this is. It's basically a sort of series of discussions that we're doing to try and make people less scared of the idea of talking about politics.
Hearing other people's opinions, it's made me like see it from different points of view and stuff.
I think that a lot of people get their political views off their parents, and I think a lot of parents don't necessarily look into politics themselves. They take it off face value from the media and whatnot.
If we're educated, if we know that politics affects us all, one way or another, from the food you eat, from the nails you put on your toes, from everything, it affects us all. I just feel like young people don't know that yet.
Everyone cares about what's in it for me. You know what I mean? How's it affecting my life day to day? And if it doesn't, like Brexit leaving or not, like day to day, how's it affecting my life? Sort of thing. That's the attitude I had, good or bad. That's how I felt. And it's the reason I didn't vote.
Probably because I felt like the Leave campaign was so tainted with people that were just so concerned with like immigration. Because that's what I thought in my head. It was if we stay in, then we can help people more, and if we go out, then we're just like shutting off from everyone else. But whether it's not even right or not, who knows? But that's all I can go on.
I think intelligent discussion is something that would really help with people in my generation at the moment, because people are sort of they're spoon-fed these opinions and facts and things that most of the time won't even relate to their real life anyway.
It sounds weird, but on Facebook and on all of that sort of stuff, I have one friend that voted Leave.
Your internet experience is so algorithmic these days that it's like if you read The Guardian and if you support Labour, then that's what you will see.
Young people, they're clouded by the media because society's so like media saturated now, and it's more focused on like distractions more than focused on the things that make us who we are today, and like, you know, our community, the society that we live in. We don't really focus on stuff like that. We focus on the wrong things.
Members of Parliament are saying that they would like younger people to vote,
and they want our voices to be heard, but then whenever we try to kind of bring something important to Parliament, which we think is important for our generation, like mental health, not many people attend those meetings and they just kind of brush it to one side no matter how much campaigning people will do.
To be fair, like when you look at these politicians that stand up there and you're like, how can you even start to relate to like David Cameron, Theresa May? Like they've lived such different lives to us. And how much do they really understand what it's like just to be like a regular person, like looking at the world from our view?
Politics seems to be a rich boys' game. That's what it seems to be, and I think that's why a lot of people, and a lot of young people, and a lot of young people who are working class feel disengaged with it. It's because they feel like it's none of their business, really. We need to leave it to the rich people, apparently.
I don't think 5 to 6 weeks is enough time to make a decision about our country.
I haven't had a really good background with knowledge of politics and people's policies, so I've only got 6 weeks to figure out who I want to run the country.
I think I would like to vote for the referendum in 6 weeks, but...
So it's a general election in 6 weeks.
I messed up.
That's fine, don't worry.
Sorry. I think I would...
That's the thing, we do even know what's going on.
Schools definitely need to encourage us to form views on politics and stuff like that, because we don't discuss it, and if we don't have parents that want to talk about these things with us, we're never going to understand what's going on.
I think this should be started from first year of secondary school, to be fair. There needs to be that open space to talk about politics so we can reduce the stigma attached to young people being involved in boring politics or anything like that.
It's always good to have these discussions. I think it needs to be had. Politics are important. It determines our lives, our quality of life, so we need to have it. And as you said off camera, making it cool. That's the major thing, making things like this cool, real life discussions cool. We need to do more of that.
There literally needs to be an app for voting, or voting for things. I remember talking to my friend while we were quite intoxicated, and we came up with an idea for an app which is basically says a policy on it, do you think the legal age of sex should be raised to 18? Yes or no? And that's literally all it is.
Do you think the voting age should be lowered to 16?
100%, 16 is definitely a good age for people to vote, because like I said, it's our future, and 16, you're able to go off into war and fight for our country, but yet we can't even vote for what we want.
My opinion on politics has changed quite a lot over the last year maybe. I've realised how important it is, and also the EU referendum was such a big thing for everyone, but especially for young people, because actually it is our future that it was deciding, and obviously the university fees and stuff like that is such a big thing for people of my age, because that's going to affect us in the here and now.
Especially being 16,
Sure.
we don't even have the right to vote, so we can't have the smallest input into the conversation.
Sure.
And there aren't many opportunities like this for us to talk about these things.
I don't talk that much about anything, to be honest, but least of all politics. But coming here and seeing other people have the same views and being able to talk like this and in front of other people I don't know is helpful, and I think it's good for young people to do.
This should happen a lot more often, and people should be interested in political stuff more often, 100%.
So I think 16-year-old and 17-year-olds are very sort of cut off, and we don't get to speak very often. I think events like this means that, say, me and Jess can both say, yes, we didn't vote, but we have an opinion.
If we're all involved in politics and we all get a right to vote, then we should all have a basic understanding, and that should be fine. You don't have to be an expert in it to really get it.
The more that people try and push our generation to vote and show that how important our voice is, the more inclined I am to vote, because it makes me realise that I'm voting for my generation and what we want, not what the older generation want.
Do you think that I might have slightly convinced you to vote?
Slightly, yes. I do think you have convinced me to vote.